Hey guys, welcome back to Tethan Props. Today we're going to work on the custom acrylic blade for Anakin's lightsaber sword. So we're up to this point now where we have our lightsaber with full electronics. Watch part 1 to 3 on that. So I'll put a link to them down below, or you can see them at the end of the video. So that is how we got up to this point, and now it's time to start working on the custom acrylic blade. So this currently can take a standard 1-inch lightsaber blade, but we want to do something extra cool with that, and that is to make a blade that will come off the end and be really cool. So what I need to do this is, so I accidentally lost some footage here, but essentially I have an acrylic blade that is cut out into the perfect shape. It's 10mm or 1 centimeter thick acrylic, so I got that special cut, and then it was ready to start drawing out where I need to make the bevels. So what I'm going to do is just do the outline of where I need to bevel. So it's a little bit difficult to do, it doesn't have to be exact, but essentially what I want is a couple of straight lines at the end here. And then I'm just going to run my finger along the length of the blade. Alright, so there we go, we've got the line the whole way on both sides. Just again, pretty rough outline, doesn't have to be exact. So let's get out there, we'll do this outside so I create much less dust inside, but take it on the belt sander, we'll sand it down. This will be pretty time consuming. So I have the bevels completed, which means the next thing I need to do is get this tang area ready. So you can probably see right now it's a little bit too thick to slot inside, so I'm going to cut a little bit off the ends here. And then also this acrylic rod, I'm going to cut it in half and then sandwich the two pieces and then slot this over the top. So I need to cut off a section of this, cut it in half, and also trim these down. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. Might do this with a handsaw. So I've got the sander back out, so I've got my tang short in there, and what I need to do is make it so when I sandwich these two acrylic tubes, see they're much too big now, that it slots over the top of this, and then we'll glue that all together. So I'm just gonna do a bit of sanding and just slowly etch them down to the right size, and then we're on to the next stage. Alrighty, so there are all the parts that I needed to get ready. That took a while to get it exactly right, but I think it'll work out really well in the end. You might be wondering, why don't I just sandwich two bits in together and then that'll slide in there. So that's what I did with the glamdring blade, but I found that it was really hard to get it exactly the right size to slot in there. So I thought if I use the actual lightsaber 1-inch blades, that when I slot that in, it'll have a nice, much better fit than if I try and get the same fit using just this. So this is the method that I'm trying now. I keep switching up the method to try and find the best way, develop it, and once I have this method down pat, then I'll definitely start selling these. But at the moment, not selling them because they are quite difficult to make. So once I figure it out, I definitely will start selling these. So I get a lot of questions every day asking if I'm selling these, so yeah, the short answer is yes, once I perfect it. So doing ones like this is all a part of that method of just trying to figure out the best way to do this, get the best method, and yeah, then I'll start selling them. So what I'm doing here is just removing the protective tape over where I want to actually glue down. Alrighty. So what I'm simply going to do, put a dab of super glue on each side, let it spread out, and then we'll just glue it all together. So now we want to put a fair bit of glue all over this, and then we'll just slide on the cap and hopefully it glues on tight. So that feels nice and tight, but I'm just going to let that sit for a while, and then we'll get on to the rest of the blade and what we're going to do with the center bit here. So I've let the tang sit for a little bit, and it's dried really well and fits perfectly into the lightsaber. So it's a nice strong fit into the lightsaber. I've gone ahead and drawn on the Arabesh writing. So it says, "By the way of the Force." So really nice. And now it's time to engrave this into the actual lightsaber. To do that, I've got my Dremel tool here. So I'm using a ball bit here on my Dremel tool because it's easy to control and it makes a nice channel for the light to disperse through. So I'm just going to go ahead and carve this out. Might take a little bit, but it'll be worth it in the end. So there we go. Now it is time for the funnest bit, which is peeling off the protective layer on the acrylic. So I'm just going to go and get rid of all the bits that won't come off when I try and peel the whole thing. So I've only done on one side, because if I was to do the same thing on the other side, which is how you read it, it would be mirrored and flipped and just wouldn't look good because it wouldn't line up, because you'd be able to see through it. So doing it on one side works perfectly fine, and you'll still be able to see it through the other side. So now let's go and remove this protective layer. So I'm going to start with this side first. This is the most satisfying part. There you go, you can see the engraving in there. I might just go over it again with the Dremel and just thicken up those lines so you can see it a bit better, but that looks great. Alright, so I'm going to thicken these up and then we'll put in the lightsaber and see how it looks. And there we go, guys. That is how I went about making the custom acrylic blade with custom engravings that say, "By the way of the Force." Like, absolutely stunning how well this lightsaber blade turned out. So and the good part of it is, because it's a standard 1-inch lightsaber blade, I can put this in any lightsaber and get a cool blade effect with that lightsaber. But I especially made it for this one, which is Anakin's lightsaber, based off the art by Jake Bartok. I'll put a link down below to his artwork. Absolutely love it, and really stoked how this physical version of his artwork has turned out. So this was a collaboration that I did with Jake, and I made a 4-part series of how to do this. So if you haven't seen the other ones, check them out. I started off with the 3D modeling, how I went about 3D modeling this from scratch. We then went on to printing and assembly, and then painting electronics, and then obviously this video, which we focused on this acrylic blade. So the good thing about having this 3D model now is that I can simply reprint more of them and give them custom paint jobs. So this is one that I recently just finished with gold accents up the top here and a different leather wrapped handle. So really happy with how this one looks, and this one is green. So with the lightsaber blade, again, it fits because it's a standard 1-inch lightsaber blade. There we go. We get the same blade with a nice green light, and that looks absolutely awesome. So there we have it, guys. That is how I went about making from scratch over a 4-part series Anakin's lightsaber sword. So guys, that is the series completed. I hope you enjoyed every step that I took in detail to make this really awesome custom lightsaber. It has just turned out better than I expected. It feels really nice to hold. It's got a good weight, it's got a good feel. So incredibly happy with how this has turned out. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on my next videos. Thanks.